Well, welcome to the United Matters channel. Today we are into a mix discussing Antony back in United training. Remember yesterday I brought you a story that is back in Manchester and he went to be interrogated by police for 5 hours. Now, we got a story yesterday that he's going to be allowed to really use the all access the facilities at Carrington, and finally Eric Ten Hag has gone ahead and confirmed to us today that the boy is yet to come in through and obviously do the very important bit of training and see when he's obviously going to get ready to play part into the United season. Smash like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. We are also going to be discussing something concerning Ericsson and Scott McTominay back. Remember they missed out on the fixture of Crystal Palace, and United has Eric Ten Hag has gone ahead to throw more light onto the expectations between the game of Crystal Palace and Manchester United, then on the development of young stars at this club. So we have a lot of things to discuss about onto this channel and hope you guys are really ready to see us go to where we deserve to be. And this is Rock and David, and thank you guys for obviously coming in through every time I come live, whether late or early. You guys are always with me. Now let's start it off with a statement that was put out by the club of Manchester United concerning the return of Antony. It's not something new to you, but I know I had not yet done something concerning it, but I need to obviously draw it to your attention that a statement was put out by the club of Manchester United on the return of Antony at the club. And the official statement from the club of Manchester United read, Manchester United have issued the following statement on Antony. Since all allegations were first made in June, Antony has cooperated with police inquiries in both Brazil and UK, and he continues to do so. As Antony's employer, Man United have decided that he will resume training at Carrington and be available for selection while police inquiries proceed. This will be kept under review pending further developments in the case. As a club, we condemn acts of violence and abuse. We recognize the importance of safeguarding all those involved in this situation and acknowledge the impact these allegations have on survivors of abuses. That's what United went ahead to put out as far as the return of this man is really concerned, that is Antony. Now, Ten Hag today was asked about the situation of Antony and him returning to the club of Manchester United, and these were his words. Eric Ten Hag said, "We made the statement, so I refer to the statement. Everything has been made clear in the statement. No, I don't think it's a distinction. We will focus on the games he will also do as well." That is it coming in from the man himself, and that is Antony and Eric Ten Hag. Now, returning at Manchester United is good because when you look at the injuries that you're really getting at the club of Manchester United, it really sends you very, 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 very low, if at all you know what this is all about. You know, this is a marathon. It's not a 100-meter race that you're going to run in like 1 minute, but this is a marathon. You have to run till the end, until when you obviously get to where you deserve to be. Now for Antony, I'm happy for him to return because we need a player like him. As Amad Diallo is planning to obviously coming through and put in a shift for the club of Manchester United, I think Antony will obviously see us do the needful and obviously getting us to where we deserve to be as a club of Manchester United. And you are also asking yourselves in your mind that when is Antony going to obviously play his first game or start training with Manchester United? Ten Hag has said that on Saturday he'll be back in training tomorrow. So tomorrow I have to see, but I think, yeah, he's fit. Now, if he's fit, I don't think that Ten Hag might hurry him in the game of Crystal Palace. But I know Ten Hag is that kind of person that tries to shock us. When he had just signed Antony, he played him into the game of Arsenal. You remember that very well, not so? He played him in the game of Arsenal, and he showed up what he could obviously do at that side. So it shows you exactly what this team is all about, and we're here to obviously let you know that it's coming to where we want it to be, and it's not gonna be far off from where we want it to be always. So that is Antony for you, but his return means a lot to the following players. Facundo Pellistri, that is it. Facundo Pellistri has been playing as a right attack midfielder for Man United. In all the games, he's going to have to play in the absentia of Antony. He has not been a disappointment, and I think he has gone ahead to show us improvement every game, that he's really trying to obviously take us to where we deserve to be as a club of Manchester United. Now, where does it leave him? I think with the very many games that we're really playing, he's obviously going to be having a go in certain games. I anticipate that tomorrow, Facundo Pellistri might have a go into that game, and even in the midweek, he might play part into that game, because Ten Hag is not that kind of player. He's not that kind of manager who is obviously going to involve Antony immediately, unless otherwise he's going to shock us, but I don't see that happening. And no sooner has he returned than we go in and ask you a question. Should Antony start the game of Palace? Because he's a variable. Now go into the voting section and you tell me whether yes or no. I've put up the poll. Now it's up to you to let me know whether Antony should go ahead to start or no, because Ten Hag might test him when he's fully fit, when he can give us a go in the game of Manchester United versus Crystal Palace, and he might really want to give him some minutes as he prepares him for the game of Galatasaray that we're going to play at Old Trafford. That is it's going to be on Tuesday. So it shows you exactly what this is all about, and Ten Hag is really positive for these players, and a lot of changes might be made. And Antony returning helps us a little bit, because when you're having Casemiro and Sofiane Amrabat that are really spreading that ball wide every time to the wide players of Manchester United, you anticipate that Antony might be getting more of the ball. Though he's very wasteful, you might find him really getting one or two balls that he can obviously get to Rasmus Højlund, and Rasmus Højlund being a clinical center forward, he might find himself hitting those balls into the back of the net. So that's what you're praying for, to see to it that Antony matches the levels of Erik Ten Hag, and after matching those levels, then he will obviously put up a shift that is really well wanted at Manchester United. But all in all, it's good to have him back, with Sancho obviously not wanting to apologize to the manager. It leaves us in a situation of really having him as an elite and verified right attacking midfielder. And with the season he has been having, that has not gone ahead to see him really score a goal, I think he needs to put up lots of efforts in these games before we go into the international break. Remember, we are playing Crystal Palace. In the midweek, we are playing Galatasaray. Then on the weekend, we play... in the midweek, Brentford. We are going to host Brentford at Old Trafford, not so? So he needs to obviously come in through and put in a shift in all these games, because he needs to take that pressure off. Last season, he saw himself score were they 8 goals and put up some assists in the season, but he needs to obviously get where he deserves to be, and we want him to see him doing in and putting in that shift game in, game out, because if he doesn't, it's going to affect him and his career. And with his problems around, the only way to silence them is going with the field of play and obviously firing in all cylinders. This happened to Cristiano Ronaldo, it happened to Karim Benzema, but guess what they did? As the case was in court, these two players were really at Real Madrid scoring goals and winning trophies. So every time you really perform badly, they'll say, I'm talking about the pundits, that maybe his head is not right because of the problems he's really having. He's not having a right head. That's why he's obviously acting like that. But every time you come in through and put in a shift that is really well required, it really keeps us into that ilk of knowing exactly that you are obviously using your talent, you're having a right head that is surpassing the problems and cases at police. That's what he's supposed to do, and I know he's obviously going to come in through with the right mentality, because all these players that Everton Hag is going to have to sign have a right mentality. Amidst them being in problems, they don't capitulate. They don't they don't look petulant on the field of play, and they don't really lose their mind. So that is it coming in from Antony, and I hope you guys are gonna hate to know the latest about Antony and his return at Old Trafford and Carrington to train with the club of Manchester United. And I won't be shocked if at all he's in the team or in the squad to face Crystal Palace tomorrow. I won't be really surprised. Then we go to Ten Hag on the team news and what he had to say. He told us the following: that we have seen some players back on Tuesday, and for tomorrow we have players that were out of the squad on Tuesday. Scott McTominay and Eriksson, they are back. This is really good news, if at all you know what this is all about, because all you need is to be having all your players fit. Not so? You want your players to be physically fit and available to obviously take in what you really know and what your club is supposed to be looking at, because most of the times you won't really go to where you want to be if at all you don't have a fully fit squad. To me, I'd rather have a fully fit squad and cause headache to the manager, and I think every manager would love to be having a fully fit squad. In this season, where players played very many games last season and they never rested enough, you anticipate lots of injuries. And if at all you are blessed with most players returning back from injury, that is really great. Now, that means the sick bay has Sergei Roglon, Lisandro Martinez, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Tyrell Malacia, Luke Shaw. Not so? Those are the 5 players that we are having really injured, and we are having very many injuries into the defense. I don't know how that is going to work out, but we are having very many injuries into the central defense of Manchester United. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but all in all, we know that it's going to look great and better for the club of Manchester United, and things are going to go on as planned. So we wait and see how that pans out at Manchester United. But the return of Eriksson and Scott McTominay really leaves us with lots of questions on who is going to make the bench. Now, if the starting 11 is having Onana, Dalot, Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, that is the back 5. Double pivot, Amrabat and Casemiro, right? Then Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Rashford, and Rasmus Højlund. That means we are going to be having Ben David as a must onto the bench of Manchester United. That is it. Then after having Ben David, Anton Martial is going to be on the bench. It's a must. John Evans is going to be on the bench. It's a must. Pelestri is going to be on the bench. Eriksson, Scott McTominay, Garnacho. Those are 7, meaning that we are having 2 to go. I think Hannibal will be there. And who else will be missing out? So Ten Hag is going to be having a huge headache to select on who is going to make it on his bench. It's really going to be huge headache for the gaffer Erik Ten Hag, because these players are going to have to obviously put in a shift that everyone really desires. And the other question is how they are going to play into that game and midfield, because Eriksson is going to be having limited playing time at Manchester United. Why? Sofian Amrabat is in, and you saw how good we looked when we are really playing Crystal Palace in the midweek. And it's the same thing we are going to see at Old Trafford on Saturday. We are going to look good, provided Erik Ten Hag goes in for double pivot of Casemiro and Amrabat. It's one of those intensious games that you try to see to it that these players play together and really gain that chemistry. We've seen why we lost the game of Arsenal. It's because of Eriksson not having a lot of intensity in that midfield. The game of Bayern Munich, he even gave away a ball that resulted into a penalty that we conceded. You know, in the game of Brighton, the 3 goals we conceded outside the 10 box area, he was not having good legs to obviously come in through and obviously cover that area. But when when Hannibal came in through and played to that position, you saw exactly what happened. It just played into our favor and we went ahead to obviously win these games. That's what players who have the legs to do that really bring to the club of Manchester United. We should be excited about their return, but I don't think that they are going to be used a lot, you know. And for Scott McTominay, I think he would have been one of the first players to be sold in January. If I'm his agent, I just tell the board, I want to leave. And they wanted to sell him, and the player was not really willing to push the move. I believe at all Scott McTominay pushed that move to West Ham, he would have gone ahead to find himself playing some good number of games at West Ham, you know. But he didn't push for that move, and it left him in a situation that he was really begging for playing time. And I saw him against Bayern Munich when they brought him on, losing the ball, not wanting to run back, showing that his head is not right. And it shows you that he's really not performing very well. That's why Ten Hag dropped him, like for the game of Arsenal, dropped him for the game of Crystal Palace in the midweek, and he comes back and we don't know whether he's going to make the bench because he's not in his right senses, as he's not playing enough, and he wants obviously to put in the best of the best that is really desired for his club, that is Manchester United. But I trust Erik Ten Hag with how he's going to handle these players, and it's better to see to it that this player really leaves us. Now, let's end this poll of Antony, but let me leave it until this live comes to an end. That's when I'm obviously going to come in and tackle it. Now, on Crystal Palace, the fixture we are playing tomorrow or today, Ten Hag said the following, that definitely both sides will be different, but we got belief from it. I know the opponent is going for revenge, clear, and that will be their view. So, Erik Ten Hag anticipates revenge coming in from Crystal Palace, but I don't really think that their revenge is going to be successful. It's not gonna be successful, not even for a second, because we are at Old Trafford. We are going to be running the show. Crystal Palace can't come in through and run the show. It's we who are going to be running the show at Old Trafford. They can't run the show. Though in the game of football, everything is possible, but I believe our good spell has gone ahead to start. It started off the day we scored 3 goals about Bayern Munich. That is it. And then we came in through and won against Burnley, won in the midweek against Crystal Palace, back-to-back wins, and we want a third consecutive win in the row. When we get that in, it's obviously going to put us in a situation that no one is going to be able to touch us. We are going to put in a shift that everyone is going to go on and really say, yeah, the army of Erik Ten Hag is 100% charged to take it to the next level, because we are going to be unstoppable. That is it. I want to let you know we are going to be unstoppable as a club of Manchester United, and it's a force we are going to reckon with because of the players that Ten Hag is going to have to bring in through. And the missing piece in the jigsaw was obviously Sofiane Amrabat, and Sofiane Amrabat is going to obviously take us to where we want to be. So to me, it's good news for Manchester United that you are having all these players available, and let's wait and see how everything really pans out at this juncture at Manchester United. And let's try obviously to bring in another segment of Erik Ten Hag when he was asked about the youngsters of Manchester United, and this was his say. Depends on their performances, on their levels. If they can show they can contribute to a winning team based on the opportunity, and you win games. So, as he has always told us, that they need to deserve to be into that starting 11 or into the team squad, obviously be there. It's not that you are good. It's not that I want to make you happy, I want to make your agent happy, that I'm going to start you. That is it. He only brings on the players that deserve to be there, and their levels are obviously at that point of really putting in the shifts that are really well desired and really anticipated from the players. He also said on developing young talent that you've seen already, when you develop young players, you see the progress, and that can help you in tough situations. It's good for the club to develop such players and get them into professional football and professional top football. Obviously, the list is endless for those that's going to hit obviously groom. So it's not endless, but it's really exciting. Garnacho, Kobe Menu, Dan Gore, Facundo Pellistri, Hannibal. 5 players into that team, are really coming in from the academy. The other one is Amad Diallo, who is set to return. Those are going to close to 6 players that Ten Hag is going to be having, grooming from the academy of Manchester United and really nurturing them into the quality of players that we want to be having at the club of Manchester United. What other exciting news would we like to hear from the manager, that is Erik Ten Hag, other than that? He also added and said, I like to develop young players, but the mentality has to be right, and every time you have to prove it at every occasion in training and show it in the games. Now, Danny Gore and Hannibal have gone ahead to prove us in games that they can obviously put in this shift and really take it to the next level where we deserve it to be. And I think it's obviously one of those decisions that Ten Hag has gone ahead to make, that people will obviously get to know why he was the right manager to be brought onto the job. I know very many people coming out and putting out stories that he never deserved to be. He doesn't manage the Premier League, and it's proving them right, game in, game out. I'm having Christopher Enoch Garnacho can start ahead of Rashford. I don't see it today. Rashford is starting ahead of Garnacho. That is it. I think Garnacho lost out his chance on really putting out a heavy challenge on Marcus Rashford in the first 2 games of the season against Tottenham Hotspur and Wolverhampton Wanderers. He had very many chances to kill off the game, and he wasted them. And that's why the manager never even used him in the game of in the game of Nottingham Forest that saw us win by 3-2. He was one of the unused substitutes on the day because he was really given a chance and he never utilized it. And in this game of football, every game matters. You have to obviously come in through and put in a shift. Now, if you're competing with a player who has gone ahead to put in a shift the previous season, scoring 30 goals, and you don't really take your chances, then the manager won't really see you as a serious contender to take him on. For Garnacho, he needs to obviously take his chances like he did in the game against Crystal Palace, right? He needs to take his chances. Anytime he's given a chance to show up, he should take his chances such that even when Rashford comes in through, he'll get to know that I'm having a player on the bench who is really giving me a run for my position. Rashford should be feeling the heat. And I think with time, if Garnacho continues to do that, he'll obviously turn out to be one of the best players in the game. And I don't really argue that Garnacho is a talented player. And I know at a point X, Garnacho will bench Rashford. That is it, because he has a lot of minerals and ingredients to add to his game than Marcus Rashford. That is it coming in from Garnacho. Sorry, that is it coming in from Christopher Enoch. Now we go to Gash Nyamotoni. If we put Ericsson, Palace, we run the show for sure. We need legs to run. Obviously, we need players with the legs. We need players who have got the legs. And Ericsson is not that player who has the legs. And I think I would like to see him play behind the double pivot of Casemiro and Amrabat. I would love to see him, by the way, play that position because he is a perfect number 10. Though Ten Hag was successful last season by playing him as a number 8, that's not the position for him. And now we are having close to 3 players who can play that position better than him. 1, Amrabat. 2, Kobe Menu. 3, Mason Mount. 4, even Hannibal has proven to us that he can obviously put in a shift that this man cannot put in as far as having the legs are concerned. And it reflects out to us that maybe it might be the last season of Ericsson at Manchester United because United might cash in for him in the summer. Have you even thought about it? When you look at the talent we're having that midfield that has gone ahead to do the job that Ten Hag really wants, I don't think Ericsson has a place to play. Does he? I don't think he has a position to play at Manchester United. Unless otherwise, Ten Hag will see him as a number 10. But in the number 10 position, we are having Mason Mount can also play in the number 10 position, right? So it's really, 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 really huge for him. And he might not be getting the minutes he desires at Manchester United, and it might really push him out of the club and really find himself playing the game of football elsewhere. That is it. Amwad, have you guys thought about it that Ericsson can be sold in the summer? You know, if United go in for an elite central defender in the summer, they go in for an elite central midfielder and an elite striker. Where does that leave this man, Eriksen? I think another midfielder added to the team of Man United sees him drop back deep, So I think it's high time he really left the club, because he's not going to be getting in enough playing time like he desires. Then I'm having Gashia Mutomba. Sometimes Garnacho lacks proper decision making. Yeah, the end product of his game is sometimes lacking, and that's what he needs to improve. If he improves that, then everything is going to go on well for him. And I anticipate he's obviously going to hit and fire all cylinders at Manchester United. But he's just he's just 1 year old into that squad of Manchester United, and we all anticipate that his time is going to come. Through this season, he's obviously going to turn into a very good player. And at the age of 20, that's when this man is going to start to blossom. That is it. He's going to start to blossom at the age of 20. This season is really going to make him firm and obviously have the right mentality to play for Manchester United. And then, with the team going ahead to perform better and better and better, he's really going to see himself do the needful. And you saw him when you're playing with the double pivot of Casemiro and Amrabat. He got onto the ball a lot. These two could connect the midfield to the attack very many times. And that is the beauty of really having Sofian Amrabat and Casemiro in the double pivot. Then, ends okay. I think Rashid deserves a start ahead of Garnacho. Yeah, Rashford still deserves a chance ahead of Garnacho. That is it. But I think by the end of this season, Garnacho would have gone ahead to set competition for Marcus Rashford. That is it. And I also don't want to see Rashford being started every game. That is it. And resting him in the midweek was really great, and giving Garnacho a full 90 minutes was really a plus for Erik ten Hag. He scored and he ticked another box that I can give Facundo Pellistri 90 minutes. I can give Garnacho 90 minutes to really farm them and really make them what they deserve to be as players of Manchester United. And we who know the culture of Manchester United and how these young ones are really concerned, we are really excited on what Erik ten Hag really made his decision to be as that. So to me, I'm excited that we are having these young players to the team trying to push for the first place. Like you see Hannibal. And guys, don't be shocked tomorrow when Hannibal starts into that lineup, because Hannibal's going ahead to do what Eriksen has gone ahead failed to do. Eriksen is a very good passer of the ball. He gives us control. But when we have the ball, when we lose the ball, he doesn't obviously put in a shift that Erik ten Hag really wants. So that is it. And Garnacho, let him be on the bench. He played some good 90 minutes. Rashford is going to come in through and do the job. That is it. Now, Garcia Mutomba, which team can buy Eriksen? Very many teams can buy Eriksen, by the way, because we are having teams in Saudi Arabia. They really want him. I think Varela told Brentford that we are selling you Eriksen back. They obviously welcome him back because he really gave them a very good go in that 6 months he had from January of 2022 to the summer of 2022 when his contract really went ahead to expire. So to me, he's a very good player that will obviously go in and put in a shift that is really well required, and we obviously have to come in and obviously give you the best that you people really deserve. So to my understanding, this guy can obviously put in a shift that is really well deserved at Manchester United, and we can obviously see ourselves doing the needful. And let no one lie to you that this man isn't ready to obviously get off the team. He should get off the team. When you look at the talent that has gone ahead to come through and proven that they are good, he cannot match them. He's talented and they are talented. They are having the legs. He doesn't have the legs. Now, what is he doing at the club of Manchester United? The answer is nothing. So, let's obviously appreciate him for the job well done, but I think it's time for him to obviously say bye-bye to the club of Manchester United, that he's no longer at that level to put in the shift that is really well desired to take this club of Manchester United to the next level. That is it. So let's end this poll. I asked you a question, whether should Antony start the game or not, and you've gone ahead to put in your answers. 68% have called in for him to start, and 31% have gone ahead to say no. So Thank you guys for watching it through. So let's wait and see whether it's going to be in the match, in this match squad today at Manchester United, and see how we are going to perform at this side. I went up with a prediction of 4-0. Not so? 4-0 was my prediction for this. Now, thank you, Christopher Enoch, for watching it through, Gashia Mutomba for watching it through, and Enz OK. Thank you for watching it through. Good night. See you tomorrow as we do the match day results in there for you. I'm out.